All right, everybody, welcome into tonight's solo edition, back to what's a regular Wave News Extra live stream as we dip in and out from our SkyTrack network of cameras. All is quiet, but still pretty cold out there for you folks now on a quiet Wednesday night, out in Bardstown. The traffic just trying to make their home as safely and as smoothly as they can. All right, folks, I'm Jose Susanya here in the Wave Now studio. You might be asking maybe why I'm still wearing my station puffer jacket. Just sometimes you can't shake that feeling of cold, even if you come out of the elements and into, where the office might be, the temperature of the thermostat notwithstanding, just wanting to stay a little extra warm. And so I hope you'll indulge me, but also you all are very close to those blankets or extra heat source for tonight. So we're talking about just we've been talking really over the last couple of days about the scale and the impact of how dangerous it was going to be, after the snow left, and just this cold that could pose such a serious health risk. We were able to confirm some updates just within the last hour to let you know, because we thought the number of victims who died now was one number, and now we know actually it's been updated to 11 folks in Kentucky, including a man from Louisville. They have died as a result of the winter storm. The update furthering leaders echoing sentiment of how important it is to protect yourself and others out there in the cold. A reminder, it's going to be some days before we return to at least above freezing temperatures. Governor Beshear, once again, reminding Kentuckians, asking them to limit their time outdoors. See if we can take you there to some of the images of maybe some parking lots right off the interstates, still trying to clear as much of the snow as they can, as is doable. For Louisville, this case, Mayor Greenberg confirming just this afternoon it was a Louisville resident who died. In a social media post, Greenberg confirmed his name, 55-year-old Richard Marshall, that he died Saturday afternoon at the hospital, and the Jefferson County Coroner's Office believes that Marshall died from hypothermia. An official cause of death, though, is still pending.
During those times, folks need to stay indoors as much as possible and limit outdoor exposure. Even 10 to 30 minutes outside could cause frostbite and hypothermia at the coldest of times. We also need Kentuckians to make sure they're bringing their pets inside. This weather is just as dangerous for them.
Right now, a reminder, there are about 120 warming centers open across the entire Commonwealth. A full map of the locations, you can find those on a link in the website. It is kym.ky.gov. But again, if you're ever unsure of exactly how to go about all that, if you do your search engine, plug in the words, you can also find it on wave3.com, and we can help get you to the proper link to get all that in. So understanding, how serious this all really is for anybody involved. There's also the unfortunate circumstances for families who then scramble to have to find a place to survive and stay warm. We learned of a story of a family whose home was destroyed in Radcliffe. They were just simply waiting for the winter storm to pass, but now they're scrambling to find where their second home is going to be and what insurance might do to help them whole again. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia-Francescini is the one who went down to Radcliffe, met the family, and shares how they are simply trying to recover things day by day.
The fireplace. All of it.
The inside of Kevin Moran's home is unrecognizable after a major fire broke out Sunday morning as he and his family were riding out the winter storm.
It's pretty rough to see. That's the baby's room straight up ahead, up the stairs. And pretty much all his stuff in that room is ruined and covered in soot.
Kevin says he was watching TV with his baby in the living room when he noticed smoke coming out of the fireplace. He says he threw some water on the fire and then the chaos started.
Threw some in the vents because I noticed flames in here, this area, but by then I already heard it up here. And that's when I started hollering everybody to get out.
The outside of the house looks just as devastating.
We go from having our own space to no space at all in a hotel.
The Morans had only been living in this house on Pioneer Court for about 3 months, but Kevin says he worked hard behind the scenes to get this home for his family.
It took me from, 2019 up until 2025 just to get my credit up enough to be able to do it. To see it like this, like I don't even want to look at it half the time. It just breaks my heart that everything I strive to achieve just went up in flames.
Kevin says insurance is currently trying to find them a home in or near Hardin County. And while the future feels scary, he says he's grateful for a community that has stepped up to help. A family friend has set up a GoFundMe to help support the Moran family as they try to rebuild and recover from this tragedy. If you want to help out, you can find a link to that GoFundMe with this story on wave3.com. In Radcliffe, Fernando Garcia, Francis Cheney, Wave News.
And we appreciate Fernando for that update. Just to show you a bit of the other weather consequences, impacts around the state. We'll loop back to, you saw the image of Governor Beshear talking, giving these updates, and they're sad to deliver when folks die. There was also a closure out in the Western Kentucky Parkway today. Maybe you or folks you know out in Grayson County between Caneyville and Litchfield. Apparently, there was a semi truck that may have crossed the lanes and then hit a state contracted snowplow truck. The condition of the driver, as far as we were able to get an update that this crash happened, that driver, we don't know how they're doing, but the governor said that they were life flighted in a helicopter to get to a hospital and provide that care. All right. Understanding again for schools, it's another thing you have to consider, how you manage, balance, and juggle all these things. We've been talking about what NTI looked like for all you JCPS parents and families. It is going to be, that situation again through tomorrow. There's still a pending decision on what's going to happen with schools Friday. So hopefully, within a reasonable window of time, that they can share that decision, and we'll amplify what the decision is for Friday classes, whether or not that's going to happen. Several other school districts, again, canceling classes this week, making their own choices for the sake of their students' safety and priorities there. You can check out our updated either closings or delays. That's a whole tab you can go have, scan through on wave3.com. You can also double check on the Wave News and Wave Weather app. So it's always good to then get that vantage on the other side of the Ohio River. And they're not escaping the lingering cold, the possibility of whatever snow might arrive, and not necessarily aiding in the ability to get our roads as clear and try to warm up as much as possible. So for this check-in, Wave News reporter Logan Perrone is looking at how things are shaking in southern Indiana at last check this afternoon.
Well, many of the roads here in New Albany and across Floyd County are clear today thanks to the hard work of city and county crews. However, their winter weather response isn't over as they currently deal with well below freezing temperatures. That's keeping snow on the ground and the county's roads department hard at work. Crews have worked 10 to 12-hour shifts since early Saturday morning and were treating subdivisions and secondary roads Wednesday. Across the county, there were only a few accidents and no deaths reported. The cold also continues to be a problem. EMA Director Kent Barrow is encouraging people to stay inside if possible.
Stay warm if you don't have to be outside. Still, the temperatures are way below freezing. So, if you don't have to be outside, just don't go out. And if you do, make it for short periods of time. If you're shoveling your cars out and things like that, stay hydrated and take care of yourself.
The library is also serving as an unofficial warming shelter and offering coffee during normal business hours. On Grant Line Road, the Homeless Coalition of Southern Indiana says that they'll be operating the White Flag Shelter through at least Saturday. And you can get emergency alerts from the county by texting Floyd to 99411. We'll have winter weather resources for folks here in Floyd County linked with this story on wave3.com. Reporting in New Albany, Logan Perrone, Wave News.
Much appreciate our news team getting out there, our Logans, our Fernandos, and all the other folks on the news team, just to be able to share with you all, if that's not your particular neighborhood. And we've been talking over the course of the week just how things can change by the slightest degrees of latitude north or south. If the sleet had factored into chopping away at that measurable snowfall, the storm tracking team has been, informing and educating us through this entire process. So a major shout out to them, and appreciate you all, taking the time to maybe share share on the live stream and leaving comments as to how things are going with you all. Hopefully the power is still on. If some roads or most of the roads you need to take are passable. Thanks to folks like Lee Cahill on YouTube joining us. Happy to update whatever we can for Lee and for all of you, as really it's about weathering through all this to then get to not just the above freezing temperatures, but hopefully, cycling through winters and seeing what February has in store for us. All right. We're going to reset for another slate of stories, and this is going to be more of the harder news, we'd like to call it, but just some updates on the other kinds of stories that are happening around Wave Country in our community to break down for you as you join us, whether that's on the Wave Now programs you've got on your Apple, Fire, Roku devices, and here on our live stream. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with more of Wave News Extra. Coming up on 8:18, folks, and good to see that the traffic here around Hospital Curve in downtown Louisville, at least not just A, looking smooth, but B, perhaps, this is the task in this major snow clearing project for, KYTC crews or all the, the contractors, anybody who is trying to just plow and keep these critical roadways as drivable as possible. So you can see, thankfully, nothing slick or too risky or dangerous to speak of. Just then hoping folks take things slow as we all try to work out of this deep freeze and then thaw out of it. Appreciate you joining us again here on the live stream, wherever you are and tuning in. I'm Jose Sosaya in the Wave Now studio. At this point in the night, what we'll do is sort of touch on some other stories you may have gotten wind of, whether we sent that straight to your phone with a push alert, or you were just hearing this information shared. A lot of it is where we kind of do touch on these things, and they're awful to have to share and tragic. One of them, and we'll start with this one, is us learning in the afternoon that a 14-year-old boy, well, he died. LMPD telling us earlier and talking about the information that they could disclose that apparently they believe he accidentally shot himself. I want to take you to the scene where officers discovered where this all went wrong. Police went to Greenwood Avenue just after 2:30 in the afternoon. Officers say they tried to save this teenager's life when they got there, or at least do what they could do until EMS would intervene with whatever their, the medical training. They did take this teen boy to the hospital, but he died from the injury a short time later. LMPD says after talking to witnesses who were very close by, they believe the shooting was an accident, and they they, being LMPD, are not disclosing the identity of this this young boy who has tragically passed away. And so whatever does come of that, if there is any update to share, we'll make sure to let you all know. But we also know LMPD is investigating what happened in this other case. They say they found a man's body inside a home on Carroll Way yesterday. So Carroll Way, if you know, that's near Iroquois Park, but that puts you in a location. The medical examiner's office says they do think there was trauma on the victim's body. They're looking for signs of, what that would be, trauma or struggle. And so far, LMPD hasn't arrested anyone they think is a likely suspect or who they think is involved. So they're asking anybody who might have information about what could have happened in this case on Carroll Way near Iroquois Park to call them at their anonymous tip line or to use their online portal. In an active murder trial that now has resumed because this awful winter weather paused what was supposed to happen during this trial and these criminal proceedings, prosecutors, we know today, rested their case against Taylor Meyer. Meyer being the Jeffersonville man charged with murdering his wife Valentine's Day a year ago. Today, the prosecution and defense kept arguing over the timeline of events. Meyer told police he'd sent texts to his wife's family and friends before he then went to the kitchen and got a knife to stab her. Police say the picture he sent to his wife's boyfriend did not show any stab wounds to her body. Prosecutors arguing that the crime was premeditated. Meyer's defense attorneys pushing back, though, on this, challenging the police's own timeline, and they argued that Meyer was enraged and acting in the heat of the moment.
That doesn't take very long, does it? If you're enraged, if you're angry, and then after she stabbed, what it appears happens is then he's texting. He is out of his mind.
Now, Meyer faces up to 65 years in prison if the jury convicts him of murder, and he faces significantly less time if the jury convicts him of a lesser crime involved. Right now, an update for some perspective on local small businesses across the metro, both, the Louisville and the Southern Indiana side, trying to get business back up and running after not being able to take customers in, for the sake of survival through the winter storm. But a local food truck, they're asking for the community's help out right now to, see them through this and see if they can help them find what was stolen. They say they need to replace their generator. That is what was recently swiped. Crossroads Tipicos posted this photo of their, or on their own GoFundMe request page of what's left after they say their generator was stolen. It's a food truck you might recognize on Outer Loop across from Moore High School. They say they want to raise $1,800 to replace the generator. At last check, they well exceeded that mark I read that number incorrectly. So they need to get $1,800. And so far at the last check, our reporting team had looked at this. They were above $400. But they do have a donation page. And in that bio explanation, they believe that someone who took the generator was this person driving a silver Honda Pilot with some front bumper damage. You could see the back door was open. Crossroads Tipicos says they can't run their food truck without the generator, and it's the owner's only source of income. A police report is filed, but if you have any extra information to aid in finding who is responsible, you are asked to call police. In a big news for GE Appliances, this is the update, one of the bigger stories a little earlier in the day, but we're going to see the ripple effects of this. They're announcing more jobs being added, that they are coming to their Louisville headquarters. These are the human workers and robots working together, manufacturing a device that the company says is meant to benefit consumers' health. The company's CEO telling our Wave News reporter David Mattingly that consumers should beware any look-alike products since they're being very specific about what it is they're trying to manufacture.
The newest innovation at GE Appliances comes with a warning to consumers about counterfeit water filters. You're looking at a first-of-its-kind manufacturing operation at GE Appliances. The company is now making its own water filters for GE refrigerators in-house in Louisville. Eventually, robots and 30 employees will work 24 hours a day, turning out a couple of million filters a year. But the innovation also comes with a warning for customers to be on guard when buying replacements. The market is flooded with cheaply made look-alike filters, counterfeits coming in from abroad. Some counterfeit filters have been found to contain contaminants including arsenic and ethanol.
I think the awareness needs to be out there is you don't want to take those risks. And what we're doing here, I think we're always very careful of quality. You can see the kind of facility and the time and the effort and the investment we put into this, which others don't. So we just want consumers to know.
The Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers advises consumers to be cautious and purchase replacement filters only from authorized dealers. Manufacturing water filters closer to home, GE hopes to be able to stay closer to its customer, making it easier to educate consumers about the problems of counterfeits. David Mattingly, Wave News.
All right, thanks to David there. And a reminder that you can always find all of our news team's full reports and always reference everything that they had to share and the video that's involved on our website, wave3.com. Okay, we're going to reset to talk about the last batch of stories for tonight. A lot of this, call it sort of a triangle. We'll loop back around to some stories and some pretty tricky situations informed by the weather, all this piled up snow and the ice and all the very dangerous conditions. Some images we want to share with you of some rescues and some quick thinking that could have made a pretty bad situation, thankfully was made a little easier. And also some new images, sketches, visions for what Mid-City Mall, that particular story, the partnership of a developer and the property owners of what to do to change the current layout of this staple shopping destination for folks out in the Highlands. All right, folks, this is going to be our next break. We'll be right back with more Wave News Extra. Hi there, folks. I'm Jose Sosanya in the Wave Now studio. Let's jump right into some new video we want to show you here. It's of what the scene was. It's a pretty dramatic rescue that it was an icy water rescue. A man accidentally apparently drove into a retention pond in Greensburg, Indiana. And so perhaps here the video just does not want to cooperate. So I'm going to see if I can come back here into the main studio and do a playback. Let's try this now. We'll see if this advances beyond the 4 seconds. Okay, hopefully you can see a little bit more of what it is. Okay, so the minivan, evidently they're submerged still in the pond. The driver first told first responders that his GPS misled him in the snowstorm. He went all off the road, down this embankment, onto the ice, and into the pond. And you could see There were tracks when the minivan drove on top of the ice until it broke through the retention pond. Here is some body cam video from a Greensburg police sergeant. Within a few minutes, a team of firefighters, police, all there while the snow is falling. Fire crews tethered to ropes, take out a rack. They pull the driver out of the window and get him back to the bank to dry land safely.
I reached in and got him underneath the arms and had him kind of back out towards me so that I could get a hold of him and then help pull him out of the van.
Yes, he was talking to us. He thanked us a few times. We were able to get him into the ambulance. He seemed to be doing all right. They got him taken out of the hospital, and he's doing well.
Yeah, police say he was a 66-year-old driver behind the wheel, just made a DoorDash delivery when he ended up, again, submerged, almost frozen in that cold water. They say someone in a home nearby spotted the car going into the retention pond and called 911. About another rescue to share with you on another icy pond. This involved a horse out in Missouri, Kansas. Fire crews helped pull out not just the one, but two animals. They fell through the snow-covered ice into that nearby pond. Fire crews locally out there in this part of Kansas say that they responded as quickly as they could, working in the freezing cold to break a safe path through the ice and then successfully leading both these horses out of the water. The horses were then taken to a local vet's office to be checked out. That team saying that both the animals were in good condition and then taken to a dry barn. So again, disaster avoided in both of these particular fronts, not just here on the, in wave country for the Southern Indiana and Kentucky folks in those respective cases. But you could see, again, the reminder of just how wide reaching and far stretching this entire winter storm was, talking the impacts, Texas and New Mexico, and extending folks up in the Northeast and New York, talking about the bitter cold that they're enduring too. Coming back here to the Metro, we're learning more and more about what the future of Mid-City Mall could look like. Representatives for this company we know is going to be part of a partnership to get this done. It's called Branch Properties. Well, they talked at today's Highland Commerce Guild meeting. Folks, business owners, neighbors, very interested to see what that was all about. And it was an opportunity for our Wave News reporter, Kirsten Foote, to break down some of the plans.
The future of Mid-City Mall is coming into focus as representatives shared their plans for the space Wednesday morning. Developers say these plans were designed after meeting with several neighborhood associations and hearing what stakeholders wanted to see.
And then now in this phase and making sure that we are meeting with all the right groups and people to get an additional round of feedback.
The proposal calls for a large grocery store. Developers talked about a Publix to be the centerpiece. Separate buildings around it will be home to other businesses. One of those buildings will be the Highlands Shelby Park Library, currently in the mall. One focus of the design is pedestrian safety. Developers say they'll take out roughly 150 parking spots.
That is something that I think that does kind of stick out about the design is there's a lot more in terms of safe pedestrian access into and through the site than there is today.
They'll also be adding more green space. Representatives say the architect had Louisville in mind when drawing up the designs.
Their in-house architect. She and her husband came to town and spent some time, took, hundreds of photographs of key buildings, key locations within and throughout the Highlands. And tried to incorporate some of those building elements especially in the buildings that really face Bardstown Road.
Developers for the project say they want to move fast. They're aiming for demolition of the mall by the end of the year, and then construction to be 14 months after that point. In Louisville, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Now, Kirsten also letting us know the developers say the steps between today and then what demolition is going to be. That includes having a proposal reviewed by city staff and the Board of Zoning Adjustment. So still has to go through the proper procedures. There could be some more changes made to the renderings because it's not final. When the proposal, though, is approved, when the proposal approval is obtained, so when that part of the process happens, then the plans are going to then be made for demolishing the current version of the mall. But again, no fixed date to that. When we do get to that point and confirm it, we'll make sure to let you all know. Well, Wildcat basketball fans, if you caught UK women's basketball last Saturday, you might have noticed the coaching staff in some pretty vibrant shoes there. And you saw the folks happy to show them off and wear them. They're custom kicks that you can't buy at a store. That's because they were hand painted. Who are the artists? They're pediatric cancer patients at UK Healthcare's Dance Blue Golisano Children's Clinic. This is part of the Coaches versus Cancer campaign. It's a nationwide initiative to pair basketball coaches with young artists, and all an effort to raise money for the patients and families being supported through the American Cancer Society. Staff saying it's also a way for these young, adamant, passionate sports fans who can't attend the games right now to still engage with their favorite athletes, their favorite leaders who help get those athletes to success. Our last story tonight, in the vein of another sport, it's actually merging TV movies with the greatest race of them all. Hallmark says it's working on a new movie, and the Kentucky Derby is going to be part of their backdrop. It's a new film they're titling Kentucky Roses. They want to honor, the producers quote, they say they want to honor the pageantry, tradition, and enduring spirit of the Kentucky Derby. So apparently the story's happening across two timelines. There's some characters. One works at Churchill Downs greenhouse, dreams of being a florist, following in her great-grandmother's footsteps by supplying the Derby's roses. She meets someone who's the son of Churchill Downs CEO. This is more or less the broad strokes of the plot. The pair develop a connection, but it might be cut short, the producers say, after they discover, quote, a bittersweet love story from the past that threatens to repeat itself. Hallmark says they're wanting to premiere the movie on Derby Day, Saturday, May 2nd. So there's, the drama and the romance of perhaps what you'd like to watch in a Hallmark movie. This is the sports drama, the excitement, the tension, the adrenaline of seeing who gets to win the run for the roses. So can you believe we're getting closer to May, as it were, but we're not certainly feeling like it outside. A reminder, folks, all of the biggest stories, the things happening here in your backyard and extending beyond that at your fingertips here on the wave3.com homepage. This is where our digital team and the news team and the reporters and the storm tracking team, everyone gets it as updated as quickly as possible so you know exactly what is going on. And this is the stuff we also work to make sure it gets sent to your phone if you download the Wave News app and the Wave Weather app as well. We're going to keep working through the night, get you some more stories. So hope you join us for Wave News at 11, having the storm tracking team break down what we can expect on the tail end of this week and preparing for the weekend too, because it's the cold that we can't seem to shake just yet, and what our other factors are going to be with any precipitation. So hopefully you will join us for that as well. Shout out to the folks tuning in on Wave Now through their smart TVs and their devices as well, or simply connecting, spending some time here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. I'm Jose Sosaya. We will see you tomorrow night. Until then, stay warm and take care.